Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. It's nice and sunny here today. It's cold though. I wanted to get on for a little bit today and I wanted to, first of all, when I create my blogs, I know that not everyone always has the time to sit down and read something, or you're just scrolling and you look past stuff real quick. So I'm going to make it a point to start doing lives and read my blog. And then I am also going to get my podcast going. So the whole point of doing this is to start reading the blogs, and then also, like, my podcast will be going, and then I'll expand upon a bunch of other topics. So, what I wanted to get on and talk about for a little while today was my latest blog post that I just posted. And it's titled Breaking Free from Doubt and Reclaiming Trust in Your Awareness. So, let's get started. There was a time when I constantly doubted what I knew to be true. I would sense things deeply, instinctively, but the moment I shared them, I was met with denial. People would brush it off, avoid the truth, or outright reject what I was bringing forward. And over time, it kind of chipped away at me. Instead of standing firm in my awareness, I started to second guess myself. I questioned whether I was wrong, whether I was making things up, or whether I could even trust myself at all. And that doubt, it wasn't just a passing thought. It took root and it became my reality. And then from there, it it turns into what I call like this spiral of doubt. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate. So, living in this constant state of self distrust becomes exhausting. So, it creates anxiety, fear, and an overwhelming sense of inner turmoil. So, it always makes me wonder, with so much chronic anxiety that's out there, chronic depression, everyone feeling fearful or being very triggered, it really makes me wonder if what I'm sharing here is more of like a root cause of that for people. So, going from there, it wasn't just about not trusting what I knew, it was also about feeling very disconnected from myself entirely. And eventually, the doubt turned into frustration. And then from there, frustration turned into anger. And from there, a near constant state of irritation. So it wasn't always outward. I wasn't lashing out at people, you know, but internally, I had like this sense like I was seething inside, right? And any little thing like would just I would feel just set off inside, like what I just talked about a little bit ago. You hear the term being triggered, and it's used, all the time now, it seems. So, just like any little thing that happens. Because deep down, I wasn't just mad at the situations around me, I was mad that I had essentially abandoned myself. I had given my power away. So the moment that everything changed, there just came a day, and this was a while back. I don't know exactly how long ago it was, to be honest, but there came this day where it was like I snapped inside. I could just felt myself like I was like, ugh, right? And I hit a point where I was so done, right? I was so done and so over this cycle of doubt and frustration and self betrayal that I made a decision. And I told myself no and enough. It was like I had to grab myself, is really what it was, and redirect myself. And that's when it started for me. And so I stopped entertaining the idea that I was wrong about what I knew. And I stopped searching for external validation. I stopped making my awareness dependent on whether others accepted it. That one decision changed everything. So let me reread that again. I stopped making my awareness dependent on whether others accepted it. Because doubt only had power over me when I kept engaging with it. And that's something right there to take note all the way across the board. So, something only has power over you when you continue to keep engaging with it. So, I'll do a couple takeaways at the end. We'll make that one a part of it. So, remember that one. So, once I refused to feed into it, it lost its grip. And then how I rebuilt my trust. Because trust is, like, if we go all the way to, we'll say, use a house for example, and we'll talk about its foundation. Trust is a part of your foundation. And this is how you can rebuild it. So, reclaiming trust in my awareness didn't happen overnight. I know I said that yesterday as well, but these things, they're true. They don't happen overnight. But they're shifts that created lasting change. And here's what they are, because it is in all of the little shifts, it's what adds up. So, number one, I stopped seeking permission. So, I no longer needed others to affirm what I already knew deep down. Number two, I recognized doubt for what it was. So it wasn't proof. So I recognized doubt for what it was, and it wasn't proof that I was wrong. It was just an old pattern trying to resurface. So I learned, so we're at 3 now. I learned to sit with discomfort without caving in. Ooh. Let me take a drink on that one. I learned to sit with discomfort without caving in. We don't like to feel uncomfortable. So when doubt would creep in, I didn't react to it internally, right? So when I would feel it creeping in, I didn't react and I noticed it, but I didn't let it control me. Huge difference. I chose to trust. We're at 4 now. I chose to trust over and over again. Even when it felt shaky, even when the old fear tried to pull me back, I stood firm in what I knew. So now I don't question myself the way I used to. So doubt still tries to creep in from time to time, but now the difference is that I see it. I acknowledge it and I move forward anyway. It no longer derails me. So, what I've learned through the journey is that our awareness doesn't need validation to be real. What we know, we know. Period. So, our awareness doesn't need validation to be real. And by that, I mean it doesn't need an external validation. It's just something that you're aware of. And what you know, you know. And so if you feel like this resonates with you, you're like, yeah, I understand. Like, me too. And if you felt trapped in that same cycle of doubting yourself and then second guessing what you sense and then feeling disconnected from your own truth, then let this be your permission to take your power back, because you most definitely have given it away. And we all do it. You don't have to live in that space of uncertainty anymore. Trust yourself. Believe what you know, and when doubt tries to pull you back, look it in the eye and say, no, and enough. We have to have these conversations with ourselves because your awareness has always been real and it's time to own it. So, my closing thoughts: rebuilding trust in yourself isn't about never experiencing doubt again. I think that we do ourselves like a real disservice in thinking that things will be a one and done. And then we can become incredibly frustrated. And this is, it really is a lifestyle. It's a way of being. It's how you live, and you just choose to commit to the journey. You commit or you commit. That's how it goes. So, rebuilding trust in yourself isn't about never experiencing doubt again. It's about not letting it control you. So, it's about standing firm in what you know, even when others don't see it. It's about making peace with the fact that not everyone will validate your truth, and realizing that their validation was never necessary in the first place. When you trust yourself, life unfolds differently. So, you move with confidence. You create from a place of knowing, which feels very sure. Like, that's how I've always explained when I have a deep sense of knowing. There's no question to it. It has a distinctly different vibration to it, different frequency, you're knowing. And you stop wasting energy on proving yourself to people who were never meant to understand your awareness in the first place. So, if you've been in that spiral of doubt, consider this your invitation to step out, to reclaim your knowing, to trust yourself again, because you were never meant to question what you already know is true. So true. Oh. So, just some notes, like some takeaways to really notice this in daily life. I like to go to daily life, our daily living, right? Like, how does this play out? How do we become aware of this? Well, this is the first step. Like, if you're listening to this, you're going to become aware of yourself, or odds are you're probably already know you're doing this. And then it just becomes, you know, what I would say about it for me, one of the most difficult things is that it was uncomfortable to feel the energy of rejection from others. So, because it was uncomfortable to feel the rejection of energy from others, it becomes this interesting twist that we can do internally where then we won't share, or we kind of shut ourselves down because we don't want to feel that rejection because it feels uncomfortable, right? Um, and there, to build that trust in yourself, it becomes working through that uncomfortability, that point where you're willing to kind of just sit with that, work through it with yourself, and move forward. So, and another note I took was that in society or in our upbringing, we are really taught to be quote unquote good. And, when you have a really strong awareness, or you share things that are your truth, they can be disruptive, and they are then not well received, and that feels uncomfortable, and it's not always easy to be with, that sensation of how it feels in us. And I totally understand that. And you just practice and practice and get better at this until it becomes your way of being. And it's a process. Yeah, because I wrote here sometimes it's very interesting how speaking your truth can be perceived as something bad. You know, not everyone is accepting of the differences, and what's true for one person is not true for somebody else. So, yeah, that's my little share for today, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Until next blog. Bye.